So now we will be moving on to Ms. J. Sabita, madam. I'm sure, no, with the background of what our Dr. Pankaj Mittal gave to the educators, no, the future is going to be great, but definitely different as far as the education is concerned. That is the policymakers' way of looking at it, and she was in fact very happy about the policymakers like Dr. Pankaj Mittal talking to technology providers, talking to large organizations like TCS, Microsoft, and making sure our educators are benefited not only in this lockdown period and in going forward also. And now we will listen to another personality, but from the industry. No, she's very, very senior most veteran in talent management. She has more than 25 years of experience in talent management, specifically in HR architecture, organization development, and things like that. So, Madam Savita, who leads the human resources function at Sopra Steria, which is one of the French MNC organization. She's based out of Chennai Center, where she manages the human resources portfolio. She's a very ardent, passionate, and resilient HR professional. And she has a very unique and diverse experience of being with 3 mergers and acquisitions in her companies. She's a versatile HR leader. She prides herself on championing organizations' value and mission and driving talent transformation. I think it's necessary to listen to a leader like Ms. Savita. One, just to understand how the future is going to be as far as the employment is concerned. And second, she's also a person who always works on diversity and things like that. So, your inputs to educators, to women folks, and we would like to hear more from you, madam. Ms. Savita, over to you.
And thank you so much for making me feel so very good on a weekend, which is approaching by. Uh, I'm extremely proud and extremely happy to be part of the ICT family. Also, being one of their board of studies members, it's been my privilege to be associated with this academy right from inception, which was about 14 years ago. On that note, I would just want to check if the presentation is visible to all of you. Okay. So, we've just heard Dr. Pankaj, and I think it was such a beautiful and very lucid encapsulation, ma'am, of the entire view from an academic perspective, and understanding how the organizations or rather colleges should gear up to look at the crisis that we're all going through. So, I'm very impressed with this quote, which is Tony Robbins. I thought I'll begin on that note. He says, when fear disappears, abundance appears. Now, I think this is a very profound statement. So, every opportunity is presented in any crisis situation. And I think we need to see the positive side of the current situation and move ahead. All of us are in sync when we say humankind has never faced this kind of a crisis. Perhaps it's our generation, and I hope to God that no other generation gets to see this. In view of that situation, the decisions that people and the governments would make in the next few weeks and days is extremely important, because this is going to shape the world for all the years to come. And this will shape not just the healthcare systems, but also the economy, the politics, our culture, our next generation, right? So we need to be acting very quickly and decisively, which also means we need to take into account the long-term consequences of any of our actions. So when we choose between the alternatives, we need to ask ourselves, is it just to overcome the immediate threat? Or what kind of a world do we want to inhabit when the storm passes? It's a given that the storm will pass. Like everything else, we are extremely positive that the storm will pass. And I'm sure humankind will survive. Many of us will definitely live on to say the story to the next generations to come. But the world we inhabit will be definitely a very different world, which means many short-term emergency measures will become a future of life, right? The entire thing is going to be fast forwarded. So a lot of historical things that we've been doing would no longer exist. And I think that is a kind of world we need to brave ourselves to face. So which also means if we need to face that kind of a world, we need to understand what are things that are expected out of us. Because in this call right now, we have the makers of destiny of the future generations to come. So I think it's so very important for us to understand what the industry might look at, because none of us can actually foretell the future. However, yes, we've been watching trends, we've been listening to a lot of news podcasts coming from all around the globe. So I think we need to understand first the trends that are impacting the future of work, and then I will take you on to a couple of more industry insights. So having said that, we've been, I'm sure many of you may have seen these new analysis which are coming in. So Gartner had come up with a wonderful analysis, and I happened to pick up a couple of insights on the new normal or the new abnormal, as we call it. So, it's basically about the trends which had come into play when, year before last, in the last year, we spoke about future of work. These were trends which we had already been hearing about. It's just that they're getting accelerated. We talked about the gig economy. Today, that's getting accelerated, right? What we thought possibly would not work for our organization today doesn't give us thinking time. We just jumped into action because that was the need of the hour. Therefore, we have three top trends. One is on the trends which are actually getting accelerated, fast forwarded. What is a new impact? Hitherto unheard of. I will take you through it in more detail. And I call the third trend as the pendulum swings, which possibly may seem short-term reactions. Nevertheless, they're temporary in nature, and we never know that they may become the new normal. So having said that, it is very critical for all of us as leaders to understand that these large-scale shifts will change how people work, how businesses get done. And then, if we apply this knowledge to how we're going to be rolling out and panning out in our respective work profiles, I'm sure it will largely help the society and the next generation that we are all working with. So we'll begin with accelerating trends. It's an analysis, which I read, which says more than 58% of people are likely to work remotely after the COVID situation, after the pandemic comes to a close, as against 25% odd that we have seen on a work from mode pre-pandemic. In fact, more than 74% of the CFOs have already indicated the intention to increase remote working even after the outbreak comes to a close. Now, again, to succeed in this kind of a world, the people who are at the helm should understand that prioritizing digital dexterity. We just heard Dr. Pankaj so beautifully talk about why we need to be digi-savvy. Pretty much, I echo her statements in my next few slides, where prioritizing digital dexterity with digi collaboration. Until recently, we wouldn't have thought of doing a session on a webinar mode. Yeah, I'm sure we had webinars, but all of us would have loved to walk into a swanky hotel, sit there, sip a cup of coffee, have a social connect, and all the programs that ICT has conducted. We've all seen how things have been in different style. But today things are different. Therefore, we would also need to know how to collaborate digitally. The social norms have shifted, right? So we'll come to that at a later stage. That brings me to the next point, again on the trend, which is now fast forwarded, which is gig employment. We heard, again, Dr. Pankaj, I'll borrow a line from what she said. She did mention that, we will be moving away from the traditional jobs. Yes, she's absolutely spot on. And that is clearly where gig workers come into the picture. So when you utilize gig workers, because today we are talking about flexibility, nimble-footedness, and of course, cost savings. Because all of us are watching, US and Europe have been majorly hit. Obviously, we are going to be feeling an impact of it, from the Indian subcontinent as well. Which means the Indian organizations or organizations which might be of European origin, or American origin, but based in India, would also need to imbibe and look at flexibility and cost saving as a new norm. So what is the new impact, right? The impact of this trends which are coming into play is that, very simply put, we will need to segregate and separate critical skills from critical roles, which means the focus would shift. The focus would completely shift to developing skills for multiple avenue mode, which means we will need to coach and ensure people are ready to take on anything which is involving an element of ambiguity, rather than just prepare and design themselves for a next specific role. In the past, people have always come to us and they've said, when do I get promoted to the next role? So folks, those days are gone. I don't think we would be looking at next role with a particular definition. I don't think we would have any specific flow that way and say, okay, you're here today in the career, you're promoted, you go to the next level. That is changing, because today we would be looking more at roles and at the skills, not just the degrees. This again was picked up in the previous speaker's note. So what does that mean to all of us? It means leaders have to redefine the very definition of criticality. So are we talking about criticality in terms of strategic roles? Is the role the individual plays strategic to the company? This is how we would evaluate future talent, right? Or is that particular skill critical because the client needs it and the business wants it? So is that a critical skill? Do we need to look at retention of the skill separately? So these are ways in which criticality would be redefined. And of course, workflow rules. Humanization of employees is a new impact. Now, when we say humanization, throughout the pandemic, employees have formed more connected relationships. If you notice, relationships in the past where you could just walk across to your team member, speak to them and ask them, okay, I have a doubt and can you help me out with it? I need to learn. So it is more of a social face-to-face connect. Today, we are working on a virtual mode. So obviously, people have moved into roles that are increasingly task-oriented. Now, understanding to engage and ensure you get the best out of the task member teams is quite an element of the team culture. And this culture of inclusiveness is where organizations have to focus on if they want it to be a success, especially when they're working from a remote model. So as HR, industry practitioner and somebody who's also been a policymaker, I think we will need to facilitate these partnerships between people when they work with managers, and we need to help our teams and the employees who are joining us to navigate the new norms, the new expectations out of them. So the next slide talks about the pendulum swings, which is the newer trend, the third of the trends. So here I would like to draw your attention to the shift which is happening from efficiency to redesigning resilience. Now we all know what is resilience, but in this context, prior to the COVID crisis, 55% of organization redesigns were all focused on streamlining roles, ensuring supply chains workflows to increase efficiency. But today, this path has created a lot of fragile systems. Now, when you say there are fragile systems, they prompt organizations to prioritize resilience because resilience is more important, if not equal to efficiencies. A company which is not resilient, which means if the workforce is not resilient, the organization will not be able to move ahead in these, black swan times. So what we're talking about here is how do we help employees in our teams to build flexible careers, right? How do we make them more adaptive and gain cross-functional knowledge and training? So the thrust would be more on cross-functional, cross-domains. So it's not about, I'm an insurance domain and I am good in this. So you see, I would like to be working only on this domain. I do not work on retail. Today, you need to be a jack of all trades, which also means there's a lot of focus on targeting a specific set of future skills, right? In the past, we would always pride ourselves on predicting and saying, okay, these are the future skills. So you please get geared up, learn, and retrain, right? So HR has always been on the overdrive with respect to cross-skilling, upskilling, all those took center stage. But today, folks, we're moving into a situation of response, which is why we say the movement has happened from trying to predict to trying to respond. When you structure, you need to do a course correction, obviously, because response time given to us in this uncertain times is going to be very, very less. This is true VUCA, for the last 5 years, 6 years, we've been talking about VUCA. I'm sure none of us in our wildest dreams imagined that we are going to be seeing this kind of a VUCA environment. Now, increase in organizational complexity is obviously an end result of this pendulum swing. Across the next few months, you will see more of an acceleration on mergers and acquisitions, nationalization of companies, and companies become even bigger, right? So this rise in complexity will create challenges for leaders because the operating model would need to be more agile. When business leaders and leadership teams move into more agile business models, the employees and the teams we operate with would need to tally along and pick up the baton and run, which means we are talking about enhanced complexity. How do we then prepare for a new world of work? You just see a cartoon on top which says just work till midnight, and then he says you need to relax too, right? So that's just a meme. But then what does it mean for a new world of work? We just detailed out the rescaping and the landscaping of the new world of work. What will that entail? That means we all have to ensure our teams which work, the new generation, the next generation of students, community who are going to be joining corporates, understand that they're going to be walking into an utterly new workplace, right? Yes, the health of employees is definitely going to be the highest priority. A company like mine, we are a European conglomerate. and our chairman, monitors the health of 44,000 employees worldwide every day. And we also monitor the mood of the employees using a moodometer, whether people are happy, anxious, sad, inspired, all of that. So today, everybody has to, look at innovative ways of engaging with employees, trying to feel the health of the employees good. That's important. Which brings me to obviously reassessing the roles. If we're talking about agile operating models and the org complexity that we just spoke about, it's extremely an imperative to reassess roles and how work will pan out more on a virtual mode. So hybrid model has come to stay, which means we would have face-to-face. That would possibly be a few elements of the workforce. And those are people who, because of client requirements, will not be able to operate from home. They would be required to come to workplace. Alternatively, we also have the set of people who would continue to work virtual, because these are virtual times till the situation comes back to normalcy. And even thereafter, I think many companies have already announced that they're going to continue on a virtual mode. So we're talking about how do you and I, meaning the academia and the industry, how do we collaborate, not only towards survival, but how do we bring it, towards thriving for the day after tomorrow, which means for the days ahead, we would need to look at how we strengthen the people that we are responsible for. So on that note, I'm happy to showcase a couple of industry trends post the COVID crisis. So we have a few hiring trends. Again, source of this is Naukri. Naukri has just published in end of April and said this is a comparison with how they felt the industry trends were in the last year around the same time. So if you look it up, I will take you through the next one as well to see what we are seeing here. Hiring trends across industries and across functional areas together would make a lot of sense. So it's IT, software, we're talking about IT, the banking industry. Possibly these are industries which would continue to do well. Okay, but then yes, after the lull passes, hiring trends across key industries that we see, IT again, and pharmaceutical, insurance, all are these minus 42 and minus 49 is indicative of the dip from the last year. So which means we still have and we see a lot of ray of hope there, in moving forward. So where the jobs are, okay, this is again important for you all to understand, because job creators, job slackers, and hot roles are the three categories that I've put it in. So it's easier to comprehend. We are talking about the pharmaceutical, the healthcare, technology, and digi, and of course retail, telecom, insurance, in light of the COVID situation, in light of the current pandemic that we're all going through. So these are industries where we foresee quickly jobs being created. So there are a lot of people whom I'm aware of in IT. Our organization, for example, has already created hashtag mission 21 to 40, which is indicative of the number of training and upskilling programs which our people are enabled to do. We have shared with them close to 300 to 400 programs, which are all future ready programs. And they're all way, way out of the comfort zones that people have been working in. So it's extremely encouraging to see everybody in the workforce work on it, work on programs each week on week. We also support them in ensuring, they have mentors assigned to them across the organization to see how they can clarify what they learn, and mentors are created on the online portal, which is fairly easy for people to operate. That brings us back to being digi-ready. Slackers, yes, this is where we see a downswing, unfortunate, but that's the situation today. Automobile industry, banking, financial services, travel and tourism have taken a hit. Well, it's a matter of time, maybe a year or two, we don't know at the moment, but those are slacking industries at the moment. So when you see job creators versus slackers, what then are hot roles? So, more from an IT perspective is where I come from here. Data scientists, we already heard in the beginning, we saw Anbu setting the context. Data scientists, a lot of people have moderated themselves, have been learning to become data scientists. These are people who've been working with machine learning and AI. AI is there to stay. Until now, we've been talking about, the robots. Will they take away human jobs? Well, this forum is not to discuss the topic, but yes, robots play a very big role. For example, we have a chatbot in my organization, which from day 2 has been addressing all of the queries related to COVID and 24/7. So you see, it sort of makes life easier, and it's very important for the next gen, at least for the academia, since all of you are from academia here. Please ensure there's a lot of thrust and impetus on these hot roles and technology areas. And domain, of course, because domain along with technology is what is going to be the norm. It's important for people to multi domain themselves, multi skill themselves when they move on, into their final years. So what then does this mean from a turnaround perspective? Yes, online education, I don't need to go into it. Dr. Pankaj has detailed and very beautifully elaborated for all of our understanding. Virtual learning is here to stay. We would never have dreamt of doing our programs today. When I see my son, he's into his 12th grade, and I see him sitting through all the virtual classes from the very first week. The schools have tied up with universities within India and outside, and they're trying to get the best of faculties, people who are already adept at conducting virtual learning. How do we utilize their services and bring them on to the student community? So if they can do it at schools, I'm very certain that the college teams may also be doing their bit by now. So the new job roles would obviously need to cater to remote working. Therefore, people need to understand remote working is not going to go away, calls for a huge culture change, a lot of discipline in the way we work, and we as leaders need to bring in that discipline within teams. Only then it's okay, because end of the day productivity is also gauged with various online tools. But then more than that, I suppose it's important for people to internalize and establish the culture and the norms. So we talked about gig workers. Yes, we also heard Dr. Pankaj explain to us about continuous assignments, and the sort of permanency in jobs is probably a thing of the past. So this permanency would give rise to short-term work contracts. Today, we have a lot of people who are coming forward with freelancing. I have had about 80 applications walk in and say, "Can I do a freelance role? Can I support in any manner? These are my skills." So people are all, getting future ready. These are probably people who are gig workers and who have already been working on that mode. About Chennai, I don't really know as a geography how much we have utilized, but going forward, I'm sure we are already plunging in the direction. And across the industry, we're going to be seeing more of gig workers come forward with freelance and contracts. So you could work in the morning in an organization, you could go back in the afternoon and do something else. So all of that is going to be now. Then incentivize and reward. So all of the programs would also change. The compensation systems would change gradually, because all organizations would be re-looking at how HR policies would need to be retuned for these times. So those are things that we talked about, from the turnaround perspective. Now the lessons from the crisis perspective. Now, what are the big lessons that we have learned? We've been hearing of this word resilience. Friends, it's not just a catchphrase. Resilience becomes a fundamental necessity if we have to survive and thrive and move forward, right? Which clearly means, what worked yesterday would not work today. So let's reinvent the way we are working. Let's be calm through these times. At the same time, let's trust our people more. You need to trust, if we have to succeed together. So COVID has taught us all of that. As we talked about being digi-ready, today everything is digital. We couldn't have imagined a home having, four people in a family, a child doing his studies and the parent doing their online working, balancing between home and work, trying to cook and face a conference call at the same time. So all of that has become the new normal, which means we talked about future ready and upskilling. I'm not going to delve on it in more detail in the interest of time. So the mantra there is you need to innovate if you have to stay competitive, which just takes us on to a couple of more thoughts, how the other people doing it. There are a lot of international partnerships with higher education. So today we have colleges and universities who are partnering with a lot of international universities who are trying to help upgrade the quality of education in India. We're supporting and by no means underestimating the capacity of the education, the talent we have within our country. We have been the pioneers, and I'm sure we have a wonderful journey ahead. But then, yes, there are a lot of universities outside who are also providing that, finer edge. And if we need to, we could always connect and benefit from those universities. Even Harvard has been giving a lot of free courses, free certificate programs. One could never have imagined a Harvard University doing such a program. Stanford University conducting free courses. So we just need to look around us. As Dr. Pankaj said, there's plentiful information available on the net, plethora of resources, and I would definitely urge all of you to please avail this opportunity while it lasts. To me, I see it as an opportunity. I'm not really unduly worried about the crisis. Yes, we did have, for those of you who have not read, you may want to explore this book by Yuval Harari. So, he is a great historian, Israeli historian, He talks so beautifully in his book of Homo sapiens. He's also written something about the post-COVID. You might want to read that because he speaks so beautifully about how each of us needs to adapt to these changing times. So the whole thing is about adapting there. It's all about end of it. We say you connect remotely. Socially, we all are so used to meeting people. We would love to be in a community. Today, that's changed. So when we say there's no, personal community interconnect, that's fine. We have moved to virtual. We do have virtual coffee sessions, virtual luncheon sessions. There are, myriad ways in which people connect. We would just urge that you all take inputs from people around you. Your own teams may be having a whole lot of ideas. So you may want to innovate, adapt, and excel in whatever you're doing. So that brings me to the close. This is my concluding slide. And I say, thank you, Academia, your India's pride. On that note, we look forward to a whole lot of new things rolling out from our academia. Personally, if you ask me, I think this is a fantastic time for us to look within to see how we could be better than the best, how we could come forward and refine and hone the talent that India needs tomorrow. I believe personally, I've always been a very passionate Indian coming from the defense services of India. And I believe India has a long and a very bright future ahead. It's you and me who together would carve the future. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a real inspiring session, and you touched upon the future of learning and how industry is going to change. And I have no words to tell. It is most inspiring to listen to you and get that real positive vibes for our educators. That too, listening to an industry, expert like you, giving us a sense of how the future is going to be. Ma'am, Dr. Pankaj Mittal, you have been listening to. You have any closing remarks to make?
It was a really nice session. Thanks a lot, because you gave the perspective of what type of jobs will be there in future and how they should be preparing for it, which is the need of the hour. Because of course the job industry is going to change. So what type of jobs? Because many times students ask what type of course I should be doing, what type of studies I should be doing, so that I become future relevant. Because future relevancy is something which is very important now. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. And I'm so glad I finished on the 20th minute on the dot, Anbu.
No problem. Our teachers are all used to it. In fact, some days it goes 10-15 minutes, but still, they will wait for the inspiring sessions. So thank you very much to both Dr. Pankaj Mittal and Madam Savita for delivering this wonderful session and helping us close this season in a very, very positive way. With this, we are ending this season, and again next week we will be starting the next season in a different theme and in a different set of speakers. So on behalf of entire ICT Academy, our CEO Mr. Shivakumar, and the entire community of educators, let me thank both of you for being with us, madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So with this, let me thank all the participants for being a wonderful audience. We started with the season 1 on technology, season 2 on leading the VUCA world, season 3 on the future is now here, and now we are completing season 4 on the future of education. So we will thank every participant, because you have been a wonderful audience, and specifically the educators. We have been listening. You are taking these inputs to your college. I got information from some of our member colleges. Each session of this, when the inputs are delivered by the speakers like you all, the teachers are taking it into their classrooms through online and taking the input on daily basis. In fact, some class faculties are doing daily basis. Thank you very much. I think that is the real outcome of this session, what we expect. It is not just the teachers getting benefited. It is like when these kind of experts are addressing 2,000, 3,000 people, and it should be into at least the 50, 100 students each, which means several lakhs of students are getting benefited in day-to-day basis. They don't feel let down. They are in touch. They are continuing to keep in touch with the teachers, and we are definitely thanking every educators on behalf of ICT Academy and on behalf of all the 50 speakers we had so far. Right from season 1 to season 4, we had 50 experts talking to all of you, and thank you very much to all the speakers, including these 2 women leaders and also all the participants. So with this, we will close the season. We will start the next season, which is season 5, which will be from Monday. It will be on the future of skills, because this week we have been focusing broadly in education, employment, and entrepreneurship. Next week we are going to do some deep diving into skills. So we are going to start the session with Mr. Amit from the NASSCOM SSC, who is going to deliver the first session on the future skills, because he's leading the future skills initiative of the government of India. So we are going to start on Monday morning 10 a.m. for the same, for the season 5 with Mr. Amit, and we are going to have multiple other speakers. The details will be out in the website today or tomorrow. So as usual, we will open up the registration for the next season on Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. So now normally it takes another 1 to 2 hours on the day to get the seats filled, because we will again limit to the 5,000 registration because of the platform and bandwidth and things like that. So thank you very much for this season. Your certificates will be processed tomorrow. If you have any issues related to your certificates, please write to the email ID given in the website, support@ictacademy.in. It's available in the website, and they will respond to you quickly. So with this, signing off is Sanbuthambi from ICT Academy, and I thank both the speakers and all the participants for closing it in a very, very grand manner. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, participants.